Welcome to another Liquid Bullet Productions. With us today is kickboxing champion Mr. Andy Souwer. Thanks for coming, Andy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
For having me.
I'm just going to read through here. So you're 22 times world champion.
Yeah.
You've also fought some huge names in the business. Bukal, Yodson, Steve Moxon, Mike Zambidis. So some great fighters in there. I'm just going to read through your fight record as well. So kickboxing record, 184 fights, 161 wins, 98 by knockout. Some of the titles you hold: 2010 World Thai Boxing Super Welterweight Champion. It's Showtime. 2012 World Champion. K1 World Max 2007 Champion. K1 World Max 2009 runner-up. K1 World Max 2006 runner-up. K1 World Max 2005 champion. Andy, there's so many good titles you've got here. I'm going to cut it short, otherwise we'll be here for a whole week.
It has to be old, the guy we're talking about. Yeah.
So can I just start with, should we just take you back to the beginning, sort of where you grew up and what sort of year you was born?
Sure. I grew up in the south of Holland, the capital of our province, Den Bosch. Shout out to Den Bosch. No, but I'm born in another neighborhood. Yeah. Eventually, when I went 4 or 5 years old, I went to the west side of our city. But when I was young, when I was a baby, I had some problems, They had oxygen in the beginning or something. That was the story.
Health problems.
I was there, but I can't remember.
Gotcha.
But when I was 3, the doctor concluded that I had asthma. So the doctor said, "You know what, Andy?" To my parents, of course, let him sport a lot so he can train his lungs to get bigger and to have a good breath eventually on the longer term. It was in the family also, by the way. So it was a normal thing, especially my aunt. It's like, I really can't remember how she was breathing sometimes. If I still think about it, I get in trouble, man, with it, when I'm thinking about it. So I started swimming when I was 3. In the time it was allowed to swim on the age of 3.
Yeah. And
then when I was 5, I started playing soccer. And when I was 7, I started doing kickboxing.
Kickboxing.
Yeah. Until last year.
Yeah.
It's a big jump, of course, and in between, we have a lot of experiences. Yeah.
So how did you find your first sort of kickboxing experience, the training?
Yeah, to be honest, I always had enough friends, but I think in my dad's opinion, it was like that I was the weakest one. And,
oh, really?
Because I came home sometimes insecure, crying or something, and since then he said, "You know what, there's a gym over here in the neighborhood, and friends of us, they are already competing or they are training already in the gym at Ling Ho Gym in Den Bosch." So we went out for it, and the first meeting that I had, the coach, the training, John the Link, said, "Hey Andy, if you want, you can participate if you want." So I think I was a bit hesitating, but eventually I started training at that moment.
Yeah.
And since then I never quit it.
How was your school and upbringing, like with schoolwork, with your training?
Yeah, because I was also combining it with football, and if you can compare it like this, 2 different sports. Yeah. It's a team sport and individual sport, and I prefer to play soccer.
Really?
But I didn't have the talent. I was pretty okay. So like my youngest son, he's playing at the local FC, the professional club.
Yeah.
And I did a stage over there at the time too, but I wasn't that good. And I wasn't good enough like my son is, my youngest son is.
Yeah.
But I prefer football because it was, I don't know.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
For what you've achieved. And
So my dad eventually said when I was 16, I got injured by playing soccer with a match. Eventually I got injured, and he said, "You know what, it costs you 3 fights," and I was already professional when I was 16.
Oh.
I was professional, so he said, you know what, Andy, it costs you money, it costs you a lot of time in a sport where it's honestly a better career than your soccer career, because you're winning a lot. Because before I became 16, I never lost in the youth.
Oh.
I even was 14 when I fought in England, by the way.
Really? 14?
Yeah. I can't remember the name. I remember the name of the guy. He was like 21 or 23, one of those two ages. So and I was 14. Blimey. I can't imagine that I will send my son on 14
That's quite a big
fight.
age gap, isn't it?
It's a big gap.
You know, that's when you're developing, when you're growing into a man, the sort of 20s.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Even the strength is quite a mismatch, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And if I look back and if I think back about it and I'm comparing my own sons to it, you know, I never would allow it. But even though my father was really strict and really hard for me, I think he still believed in me somehow, because he let me go to England with my coach to fight an adult guy. But I think he saw just that I was my talent was better in kickboxing than football, and eventually you can say, you know, to be unique in the football, it's way more difficult than in kickboxing at a time, especially. Even the both sports grow, you know, in people and numbers who are practicing the sports. So then I became 16 and I became professional.
What age was your first fight? You know,
8.
8.
Yeah. Punching like with all the respect for the females, because nowadays we have to watch out what we're telling. But I was like hitting
so
like
can
a
I just ask you? So when you was fighting as a junior, was that headshots or was that like the junior rules like they do now with just body shots? No.
In the time we trained and we fought on the head, even with helmets and with protection. Still we fought on the head. So So in the time, and we trained it, and we trained without protection in training, and in the time they didn't thought about it probably, and there was one kind of mindset of you will get hard of it, you will get a man from it, you know, to get punched in the face.
Yeah, get used to it.
Yeah. But I don't think it's clever nowadays. Nowadays you can tell, and I can tell, that it's not smart to do it without, you know.
Yeah.
For example, in Holland we have a new restriction, we have a new rule. You can't be a pro at 16, you need to be 18. You also need to be 18 if you want to fight without protection.
Oh, really?
And in my time it was just 16, without shin protectors, without head protection.
I suppose the safety element has gradually moved on as time has gone on.
In my opinion, it's a good way, and for a certain small amount of people, group, of talent, you know, maybe you have to have some different rules for it, you know, because they need to develop, because they are talented.
Yeah. Can I just ask you, when you had your first fight, when you came to England, when you was young, how did that feel, fighting in a different country? How was the pressure for your first time?
I experienced a lot of pressure. Also already, I can remember how, not the right feelings, emotions, I can't touch it anymore, but I knew that I was really stressed, really. Yeah. Not only even in England, even when I went out of the country to fight an adult guy in a pub, you know, and it was crowdy and smoky.
In them days people smoked, didn't they? Yeah.
You know, and it was a B-class fight, and nowadays it's been called semi-pro or something. And I thought it was so tough. I was so tired because of the smoke. Small area, the ceiling was small, you know, so you couldn't breathe properly. So, but I won, you know, and I got my first. In the time we had Gilden in Holland, and I got my first 100 Gilden, you know, and having a great trip on my 14 year, when I was 14 on a boat.
Get to see another country a little bit for a couple of days.
That was fun. I can't remember that much. If we saw a few things. No, but then again, it was in some way it's crazy. It's not normal to put a 14-year-old against an adult guy.
No, it's a big challenge.
The challenge is we care also about the risk of health.
Yeah,
you know, it's not that smart. And if you look back to me, you know, until my 26, 28, I was still a teenager. The body was, my body just growed on a longer, when guys were 18 and have a big muscular body, I still had a teenage body.
Because you don't start to fill out, do you, till sort of 20s?
Over here I was always, because between the fight I was already, in that case I'm a bad example. Yeah. So in between I was always eating, and to be honest, we weren't that professional, even though we are Dutch fighters, and a lot of countries around the world are looking up to us, of our style and the proteges we brought into the martial arts. We weren't that professional, you know. For like Olympic sports, they have a totally Olympic and professional mindset, and there are companies and there's business around it, you know. And kickboxing was just business, fighting, money, and that's it. And criminals, lots of criminals, and we don't have a real organization who took care of the monies, the sponsors, things like that, and training stages and methods, you know. Every trainer, every coach could have an own gym and do his own thing, you know.
So can you just talk us a little bit through your sort of fight career from that sort of age and build up into sort of where it went? When
I was 8, I had my first fight in Breda. It was the hometown of Ramon Dekkers in the time. I didn't fight at this gym, but the other one. I remember the first 6, 7 fights, and then I can remember a few, but not in the following order.
Stepping up the leagues.
And I remember that I was 14. I was already fighting outside the country against adults. And, there was no, like I said, there was no organization,
no rules
or promoter who said, okay, we can't do that. You know, it was just training, fighting. It was developing, in their opinion. And when I was 16, there was a question if I wanted to replace a guy for a world title. World title
was 16.
My first fight was my first professional fight was on my 16, and it was my first fight. It was a world title fight. And I wasn't loved.
That's like straight in at the deep end.
Just straight ahead. But that's the style that we. I think that's one of the reasons that we were so good. Also, because we could fight in the time
top level.
Every week had small country, we fought each other, and we didn't care about it. You know, just developing into training, experience. So I just went in love, still with my former wife, you know, with my wife nowadays, and I needed to fight after a couple of months, and so I had a good reason to show who I was. So, and immediately against a French guy, he was like 32 guy, a muscular guy, a brown guy, you know, so really tough guy. And it was a kickboxing fight in the time. It was 12 rounds. So wow, crazy.
12 3-minute rounds, is it?
2. It was a kickboxing. So 12 2. Yeah, but for a guy like me, a 16-year-old, and a lot of stress. But yeah, like I did in the past, I just took it for granted. I just did it, do it. I was like a soldier, or in Japanese they would say you're a samurai. Just do it, do what you ask for, and I won it also. So then after that, I fought a couple of fights in Holland. I think I did some 10 to 12 professional fights in Holland, and I was really going fast, and I stepped up too early to the best fighters in the world already, even though they were from Holland in the time too. So you had Ramon Dekker. I never fought Ramon, of course, but you had Ramon Dekker in the same league. I was also in the top 10 ranking eventually when Ramon Dekker was still there in it. You had Stefan Veselik, you had Nedjim Lali. You had so many fighters, and both of them I remember because in the first 10, 12 fights I fought them, and I lost to them. I won against Stefan Veselik in the time. Probably you don't remember him. He knocked me out. So as a 16 or 17-year-old, you can see it on YouTube also, I got knocked out so bad. So that wasn't good, of course. And then when I was 18, I was already world champion of 3 different organizations. And Then around my 19th, I got a question if I wanted to participate with a qualification for K1. Yeah. K1 was like, oh, heavyweights, Peter Ross and Esther Hoos in the time. So yeah, I know something about it, you know, but I wasn't really into the sport somehow, you know, I just did it, and that's all. And yeah, K1 is also changing a bit of the program. It's not only heavyweights anymore, it's also the max division. 70 kilo. Oh, okay, I'm 70 kilograms. I said, yeah, of course, I want to participate, you know. I want to qualify myself. I want to go to Japan. Yeah, sure. Let's go, you know. Why they did Japanese? Because in the heavyweights they couldn't develop, they couldn't show their own Japanese fighters to win a tournament, the Grand Prix. But they had one in the 70 kilogram class, you know, so that was Masato Kobayashi. And so that's why they said, you know, we do an extra division with it, you know, and the 70 kilograms. So that's why they started K1 Max. I said, yeah, let's do it, you know, and yeah, let's train for it, and we will see. And on a certain moment, I got sick, and we were training with really good fighters in the time with at my first trainer's gym, and Ling Ho Gym, and also Albert was my training partner for 4 years. So I got sick, and to be honest, I didn't mind it. I just, yeah, the sick is sick. The next fight will come, you know, because we were fighting so much, and no worries. So Albert replaced me, and he won from Francis Itai, a student of Andre Manat from Mejiro Gym in Amsterdam, and he won in the second round on knockout, and he qualified himself for the tournament in Japan. Yeah. And after the qualification, he quit it with our training, so he left us. He left the gym with a few others, and only me, because I was so young, I was still going to school. I stayed over there, and for different reasons, they left. So Albert qualified himself, and eventually he won it also. The first K1 Max edition tournament, he won in 2002. So my former training partner went to Japan, he won, and if I'm looking back, it was my tick, because he deserved it. But I mean, he replaced me, and it was his chance, and he took the chance. So then I realized, man, damn, man, what I did, because I saw the movies, I saw everything. I think, God damn, what happened, man? The guy he's shining over there, man. I didn't know that Japan was so.
Yes, it really put him out on the map, like.
Yeah, man. Because you saw he got treated like a football star over here in Europe or in England. You know, and I said, God damn, man, Andy, you missed something, man. God damn. And short after that, already my former trainer said, Andy, do you want to go to Japan? I said, hey, yes, of course I want to go to Japan, man. You know, if I should have know it before, but because I went to the ring with 40 degrees of fever, I don't care, you know, let's go. But yeah, so I was greedy. I said, yes, of course, no worries, let's go. I said, Andy, you know, watch out, man. It's not K1. So I said, okay, it doesn't matter. He said, okay, listen to me. He said, it's not K1, it's not kickboxing, it's shootboxing. Okay, shootboxing, what's shootboxing, you know? He said, listen, it's like just normal kickboxing, but they also allow throws, chokes, bars, locks, everything, but only stand up. So it's it was
just a little bit more like MMA, but not
only
on the ground.
So stand up striking, or the valetudo. They call it standing valetudo. Yeah. In the time MMA, and nowadays MMA. So you know what, John? His name was John, the coach. John, I don't care. Let's go. To make a long story short, it's already long. I went over there. Eventually, I won the tournament in 2002. Because it was the same year as that Albert won the K1 Max tournament. And I won that S-Cup tournament the first time. And they just needed a Dutch guy, but not with the ability to win the whole tournament, because the Dutch were already so strong, and they were grabbing the titles and the Grand Prix titles away in Japan. So they just needed a good fighter, but not with the potential to win the whole tournament. Yeah. But I did. After that, they gave me 3 fights, and they gave their best fighters, and I still won. And after that, they said, Andy, okay, you're one of us, okay? I said, okay. I said, but if I'm one of us, please give me the opportunity also to fight in K1 Max. Tried to get me a spot, but they also know, even it's a bit strange in Japan, you know, K1 was financially better, the exposure was better, etc., etc. So I wanted to fight the K1 Max too. That's magical. You know?
Can I just jump back there just a quick second? When you said you fought in the shootboxing, did you have to change your training for that?
No, to be
Because obviously
honest,
with the throws and stuff, was you already training for them, or did you have to add that into your game plan?
in the preparation, we didn't do anything about it. You know, maybe
really?
we moved a bit, you know, or something. And in the time, I was doing in a school academy, or a sports academy for school. And in that time, luckily, we had some judo.
Ah, right.
For 6 months, you know, or 3 or 6 months, something around that. So yeah, that was enough for me. I'm gonna handle it with my hands and with my legs. That's it, just kickboxing. So eventually it was like this, you know, because I got thrown in the final against a Chinese Sanda fighter. I got thrown in the air, unbelievable. I felt like that, you know. I was here and suddenly was there without seeing what happened, you know. So because I didn't have the experience, you know.
Yeah.
So I said to the CEO of the boss of Shootboxing, Mr. Cesar Caicho, I said, so please give me the opportunity. Try to arrange that I can have a ticket to K1. So eventually it happened.
Yeah.
And the first fight, it was against Albert Kraus. So damn, man, 6 months ago we still trained together, and fuck me, man.
How did you find that mentally? Because obviously it's like friendly on friendly terms, and then you're going to fight.
To be honest, me and Albert, we had even though we were training partners, we already to have a better look into my youth. You know, I was already a street guy, you know, and he was from a trailer, and we were young, we were still teenagers, even though he was like 2-3 years older than me. You know, there's ego, you know, there's a lot of aggression also, you know. And to be honest, he kicked my ass many times in the gym. So somehow I was a bit afraid of him. Somehow I felt
a bit of revenge.
I hoped that it was revenge, because I didn't feel it. Then I can just like sparring. You can see it back on YouTube. I was with hands down. It was also my style in the time. Low hands and not developed yet. And because of that fight, eventually I was more secure, because I got knocked out stand. Not ice cold, but it was like I didn't know what happened, but I was still standing, and he kicked my ass so much. Fuck. That cost me so many. It was a mental thing at that moment. God damn, I'm weak, I'm nothing, insecure, and then I had confidence, and there I got my second fight in K1. And even though I won, it wasn't a good fight. I got knocked out once, my opponent got once in the last 20 seconds of the fight, so I was lucky. I was controlling the fight a bit, but not that strong. So after the fight, I said, Andy, you're not of our level, so...
Oh, blimey. Well, so you got
It's
taken
okay,
out of
but
it
maybe later on. So I said, I was not crying, but I was so disappointed.
I feel like you stepped back a little bit.
Yeah, I thought I could handle it, you know, but then, no, you're not so good. And even though I'm not that arrogant, I think in my opinion, I think I'm self-conscious in that way. I thought, what now? But yeah, I was still there in Japan because I was fighting. I was the champion of shootboxing.
Yeah.
So that I stood alive. I could handle. I could fight in Japan and show my skills. So what I did, I developed, and eventually I left. I started training boxing.
Yep.
I had to have a better defense to develop my boxing skills. And so in 2003, I didn't get the opportunity for K1, but I kept on fighting in Japan and Holland also. I could combine it. And in 2004, there was once again a qualification. And I didn't get the opportunity. But I got the next, 2004, we had also the Grand Prix of shootboxing again. So different than the K1, every 2 years, Shootboxing had that Grand Prix, 2002, 2004, 6, 8, and so on, so on. And I won the tournament again, the Grand Prix of Shootboxing. So I asked Mr. Caesar, the president of Shootboxing, I said, come on, please give me one more opportunity. Go have a talk with Mr. Ishii, because Mr. Ishii at the time is the former CEO, the boss of K1. Was still the boss over there at the time. And I said, please talk to Mr. Ishii, give me one more chance, please, give me a second chance. So he talked with it, and there it was. So I could
got the second opportunity.
Yeah. So I could qualify myself for the 2005 tournament. And I took it. And when I went to the Grand Prix eventually, final 60, final 8 eventually, I won the tournament.
Was there a difference in sort of prize money of the shootboxing and the
It was. And the time was the dollar was also different, you know. Japan went down with the yen, and the dollar went up and went also downwards. It was a crazy economic era in the time. If now it's still a crazy era.
How did you find this sort of the crowd over there?
Yeah. What can I say? No,
crazy.
It's not crazy. I know crazy audience. I know, and still it's crazy. You're right, because they are so polite. They're so respectful, and still they are crazy, because they give you presents.
Oh, really?
Different presents that we are used to it, as Europeans and Western people, you know. It's like dolls. Like,
so as you're walking in, people are trying to give you stuff, and
yeah, lots.
Really?
They grab you, and they want to have a hand of you, autographs, cameras. They want to have pictures. It's like you're a supermodel, you're a super actor, you're a football player, a star.
Yeah.
You know, and still though with a lot of respect, and it's not the respect that they give you. You feel it's a state of
good presence.
The whole presence over there is just, you feel
welcomed, and
you feel welcome, and you feel respected, and you feel. To be honest, in that time in Holland, we still were criminals, because the government didn't saw us. They saw us only when something happened. For example, on the events in Holland, you know, there were some mafia, some motorbikes groups, you know, and that's what they saw, but not the sports. And that a lot of Dutch guys made a lot of effort in Japan, and even besides the effort, they won all the prizes in Japan. And worldwide, it's well known, you know, with the kickboxing, the K1, you know, everybody knows it, especially martial arts lovers. Everybody knows K1, you know, it's crazy, you know. And in Holland, mostly the people didn't want to know who we are. Only the people who loved it, or certain
into the
part
sport.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you? Obviously, you touched earlier on Raymond Decker. Did you ever train with him at all? No, I didn't ever train with him.
To be honest, Ramon, when I was young, and that was also because in Breda, the first time I fought in the event hall, it was a gym, by the way. It was a gym. I fought there. After that, I fought there many times, like 6, 7 times. And soon after my first fight, I fought over there too. I got a picture with him, you know.
Yeah.
So my coach said, he's the guy. He's Ramon Decker. He's Ramon Decker. You need to take a picture with him. And eventually, I still got a picture over there. My mom and my dad had it in the living room, you know. And I said, he needs to be your example. He needs to be your example. So I had an example, but I didn't follow, to be honest, you know. The only example of that was Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme in Kickboxer 1. I repeated that movie for 100 plus times. Unbelievable. I wanted to be the Naksu cow.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I challenged myself without thinking about that moment when I was young. When I saw the movie, I went crazy, you know. I want to see it one more time. Hours for hours, and I was crazy when I was, you know, I was acting like him. And when I just came in Japan, I forgot that moment. I was thinking, I don't like the pressure, I feel anxious about it, and I feel stressed. I don't want to be a fighter anymore, and I don't like losing weight, and it was all negative, mentally negative. And now I'm looking back, just a year or or a year ago, I just thought back about it, man. Fuck, man, I always hated the sport. And I forgot that moment that I always wanted to be that Naksu Kao, I wanted to be that Jean-Claude Van Damme, you know? I forgot that.
Just going on to that, the sort of the Thai, you obviously fought some of the best Thais in the world, haven't you? Bukau and Yodson Kai.
Yeah.
How did you find that, sort of fighting that sort of style, Thai style, compared to sort of K1 style?
You know what it is? It's bringing the best of the best from different styles together. Is the different techniques. That's already the difference, but also different rhythm. And to handle that, to get in the right rhythm, while he's giving you a different rhythm. If I'm talking about my perspective, you know, I wanted to come close, you know, somehow, and he wanted to
Keep you at distance.
Keep you on distance and keep you away, kick you away, and when you come close, he holds you and he's gonna clinch. Oh, fuck me. So what's the story about that, you know? So if you are too far away, you get kicked ass, literally kicked ass. If you come too close, he grabs you and he's gonna hold you on and he's gonna knee you to death.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really difficult, and that is sometimes difficult to judge and difficult to fight and difficult to prepare yourself, because Holland we don't have Thai fights. So if you wanna, in that time then, if you want to have experience it, you have to go to Thailand. But I was a guy like, I don't want to go to Thailand because I don't want to leave my family. You know, so I was just stubborn and went on with the Dutch kickboxing drills and go on.
Oh, so you didn't train in Thailand?
Never.
Never trained in Thailand?
I just went to Thailand a couple of years ago, first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Now I think, man, I needed to, why? Yeah. Because Thailand is such a beautiful country and et cetera, et cetera. But I was trying to get the best out of me, you know. I in some way I had some sensitive feelings to adapt and to looking for solutions, you know. And yes, it was tough because of that, you know. Because you don't.
How do you find the Thai style?
How do you find? I can really appreciate a good Muay Thai fight to see.
Yeah.
But it's like I also love to see MMA, you know?
Yeah.
It's not my sport. I also experienced it and I did it, you know? But it's not my home ground, so... But I can really, I
noticed as well, when you watch, when you're Thailand, the Thais fight, the first round is always very slow, isn't it? They're not straight in, full out. They sort of warm up and build up into their rounds.
Yeah. In that part of it, I'm the same, you know? When I was young, my entrance song was Diesel Power from Prodigy, you know, so because I was a diesel, and to be honest, the gym, my first gym, we were well known about it. We needed to grow because in the time we still fought 5 rounds of 3 minutes like in Thailand. It just K1 changed the whole thing, you know, so because K1 was the thing, the organization, so that's why the rest of the world said, okay, K1 decided to do 3 rounds of 3 minutes. Then we need to do it too, without any thoughts about it, because the Japanese thought was because 5 rounds of 3 minutes is lacking, it's not lacking interest, you know, because it does take a long time to get into the fight. So that's why they said that 3 rounds you get more explosiveness and they have to fight because they have to get the points within lesser rounds. And at the same time, they have the problem with live broadcasting, you know. So if they would broadcast rounds of fights of 5 rounds of 3 minutes, people get bored, you know. So that's why they did it also, you know. And the rest of the world said, because Japan does it, they were the one to believe it. Yeah. So that's why they did it. So they just did it. So I need to adapt too, because I was a diesel. I was starting later on and then it went to 3 rounds. So I had some difficulties with it, but I loved it because I was growing always in the fight. I was growing. Many people always said, well, why are you losing the first round? No, on paper, I lost the first round. But I scanned my opponent in the first round. And never forget that in the aggression of the guys, 80% of the opponents that I had were aggressive in the first because they knew that I was a slow start, and maybe that there was an opportunity.
Trying to sort of get the win in the first round.
Exactly, you know. but I was aware of it. I had a good defense, I had a good eye, but while they were doing that thing, they gassed out because I was interrupting. I was kicking underneath. I took my punches, you know, I stopped them. I took their motivation. No, I didn't took their motivation. I took their self-confidence by letting them miss, you know, if they wanted to attack, you know.
Yeah.
So that they get more tired of it. So even though on paper I lost, I won it. Yeah. I won it mentally because in the second, I was still breathing okay. I was in control. I looked confident, you know, and then I built up the speed. And nothing good from gear 1 to 2, you know, it was mainly from gear 1 to 3, 4. And to be honest, because of that experience, I used it a lot. But you know, we are still human, you know, the brain works crazy, it's a complex thing, it's a crazy thing. Sometimes I was too late. I think, okay, last time it helped me, it worked, you know, maybe I don't want to get into speed that fast and taking control. I don't want to take too many risks. And then I started in the last round. Oh, fuck me. I'm almost too late. And then there was an extra round. Oh, stress.
Yeah, leaving it to the last
But then
minute.
in the second round, wow, that was open gas, full gear.
Who, in your own personal opinion, do you think you've had the toughest fights with?
I think the toughest fight was, especially on a tactical weight, was Productionz. Not in our first fight, but especially in the second. You know, I had for the first time in my career, I had, and due some reason too, because if you lose, you have so many reasons why you've lost. But I think I have enough self-reflection to say that it's always my fault. It's never somebody else's fault. If the trainer coached me wrong, there is an ability in my own brain that says, oh no, maybe it's not okay that you coach me like this because I feel different. There's always intuition. There's always a voice, you know, who knew how it has to be. A good fighter, in my opinion, has his own coach in his own brain.
I suppose you've been there so many times, you know your sort of procedure anyway, don't you?
Sometimes a coach can say, no, we can try it like this, or we're gonna do first like this, or hey, watch out because your hand is down, or his forehand is more down. Try to take that opportunity, but that's it, you know. And I think there's always a lot of out of yourself, you know, the ability to adapt. So many Dutch fighters are so aggressive, but they have a second plan. They have another second way of fighting, you know. If plan A doesn't work, where's the second plan? Or the third plan.
With your weight, Andy, did you have to cut weight for your fights, or did you?
Always, man.
Always, every fight.
And that way, I'm an Englishman, man. You know, I love eating, drinking in that time, especially.
How did that take a toll on your body, though? Like having to keep going up and down.
Yeah, crazy,
and draining your energy. Did you have to like sauna and stuff to get the weight down?
Yeah, that's why I hated the sport. Also, there were so many hates, so many reasons to hate the sport, because it wasn't fun. I wasn't disciplined, and even though I looked so strong in my fights, so in control, I was to be honest, you know. But therefore, in between, training 100%, fighting 110%, you know. But in between, celebrating, drinking, eating, you know.
I suppose you have to have a little bit of a celebration in that, otherwise your life would just become, you know, one level, wouldn't it?
As well, Andy.
I know, but I was not always in control, so it cost me a lot of mental problems, you know.
Yeah.
Like Tyson Fury, you know, he got an example. I don't compare him myself to him, but I know his story, you know. I understand his story because there's so many stress, and you know, in my family we don't have sports people, you know. So I don't have any example. Well, like I said, in the sport, we don't had an organization who get you in a certain line. You understand? So I was free a lot, you know. My dad went away because his illness when I was 18. So I had so many time. I had so many room spaces. I have so many money, so many friends, so many family suddenly because I became a little bit. famous, you know. So suddenly I had nephews and nieces everywhere in my city. And I was going out, and hundreds of people were celebrating with me, and
it's costing you a fortune.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they want it, and if you are insecure, you know, you don't see the bad intentions of people.
Yeah, of course.
So it cost me a lot. My wife it costs a lot for my wife, because I was 16 when I met her, and without her, I wasn't sitting here.
Kept you on the straight and narrow, see?
Yeah, it's a bit cliche, you know, because you hear it many times, but it is because I was only, you know, I always say it's like it was my reptile brain. Until short, I realized I was always putting energy from my reptile brain. I was a reptile. I was impulsive. I reacted. I was easy. Didn't want to listen to anybody. Wasn't disciplined. Only when I'm training, I was there, always there, you know, training. But after fight, no. That's why they put me a lot into fights, you know. So that's why I
keep you busy.
Because when Andy wasn't fighting, I got stressed.
Just to go off the bandwagon a little bit, but have you ever had to use your fighting, like has anyone ever put you in a situation where you've had to use it outside of the ring, like in a street or something like that?
I think until my 26th, I had more fights on the street than in the ring.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not happy about it, but yeah, I can tell you a different story, you know. But I'm an open book, and I'm not proud of it, and my sons are listening too. You know, I want to be a big example, but you know, I had an image, you know, not only in the ring, but in my city also. And I always tell, you know, we are not America, we are not gangsters, and you know, but yeah, I came from a neighborhood, and like I said, we are not America, we are not in ghettos or something. We have a few in Amsterdam, in the biggest cities. But to be honest, you know, I was an insecure guy, you know, from when I was a child, because blah blah blah, and with the jacket on, the kickboxer, I was a tough guy, but I was always insecure, quiet, relaxed, until the beer came in. And many friends in the family who were supporting me. I get into fights. Oh yeah, the only thing where I was good in it was this. Yeah. So I helped a lot of friends in that time.
Did you find that they sort of used you though for?
Of course they.
Like they'd get into trouble and then come running to you for help and that type of thing.
Always. I never fought because of myself to protect my wife. Maybe a couple times. Yeah. Or to defend my thing. It was always defending somebody else. Yeah. I never came into a fight by myself. Do my fight. Do it. Stupid. Yeah. But yeah, that was the boy at the time, the reptile boy. Only lived his life from a reptile brain.
What's been your sort of worst injury through training or fighting?
My eye, especially, I got some broken hands. That's it, you know. But the eye, I got cataract of it. It's cataract is when old people have cataract, right? But I got the eye skin.
Yeah, it's like a layer that goes over the lens, isn't it?
Got cut, you know. That was the worst. So eventually, got some several surgeries, and I got a new lens, a fake lens. Not a natural lens that was like this a couple of years ago, but now they have a multifocal lens you can have. But I got the old one, so from this close, it's blurry, but on the longer.
Can I just ask you? Obviously, you said, was it an actual cut in the eye? On the eye?
Yeah, no, on the skin. How do you call the skin around the eye? You know, it's been cutted. You know, and then they put it's like a bandage on it, a little rope to strap it, you know, but then the eye is going like from a round circle, it's going to a rugby, an oval form, and that's why the cataract, you know, is over there, and I went from 80% to 20, from 20 to 80, you know, so it changed a lot, you know. I did it so really bad. And
how did that affect the fighting? Did you still can fight like that or not really?
Yes.
You carried on fighting?
Yeah, it wasn't smart, but I needed to do because I had some Yeah, you know, to be honest, my date of I don't know how to call it, but I needed to quit a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I went on because I didn't know what else I need to do, you know. I had my gym, but the gym I didn't like, to be honest, because somebody else told me, yeah, you need to start up a gym for after your career. But in the time I was fighting in Japan, and it was my prime time.
Yeah.
In the time, how stupid is that? You know, but I was listening to many people. And not to myself, you know, and I just did it, and I said, yeah, I don't want to have a gym only, and I don't like it, and what else I can do, and so I started another business with weddings, with a big 800 square meters, you know, of wedding, and I lost a lot of money, and in 3 years, I said, now what I can do, the only thing you can do is going back to fighting.
How did your family sort of, and wife and that sort of worried about you fighting in your career you ran?
They always supported me. And through good times and bad times. Of course, it's once again it's cliche, but they saw me struggling also in the fighting, you know, and especially my wife, and so that's why she could hold on, I think, some way, because after fight I was always a bad guy. Before the fight, she was stressed because she saw me training, having a hard time, recovering, stressing out for the fight. And after the fight, she was still stressing because Andy went out. And he wanted to celebrate. And he wanted to get rid of the stress.
Yeah.
But that going out was also stressful for her because I was stressed. It's still stressed because drinking, it brings a lot of harm.
Yeah, it just changes the stress level to a different type of...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's love. That's love. That's why she's still with me, and I think she saw it. You know, it's not the real Andy I know. You know, there's another Andy, and but the rest of the family, they supported me. You know, and my dad stepped aside because he became ill due to some strokes, some brain strokes. So my own family wasn't really in position. I went on to my family-in-law, and they supported me really strong, and so that's my family also mostly, because I saw them the most, and they always supported. Even my father-in-law, he went like in, let's say, 40 or 50 fights. He went with me 60 maybe in Japan, you know. So he supported me always, you know. He was the cornerman, so he was there.
Can I just ask you about your knockouts there? You've got 98 wins by knockout.
Yeah.
What was your fastest sort of knockout?
Oh man. You know, like I said, I wasn't diesel, you know. I needed to grow in the fight, so I don't think that maybe I had some first round knockouts. Yeah, but to be honest, I can't remember.
Can't remember, that's a lot.
What's the secret of it then?
Yeah, you know what? You know, there's a secret. You know that there are guys who have just a one-punch knockout or one kick knockout. You know, and I was always destroying them mentally with stamina. You know, and I worked hard. You know, I had a work pace. I was not always pressing. I was always taking care of the confidence of my opponent. I was always hitting the legs a lot, you know, to get out of the rhythm from them and
weaken them
down, you know, and you know how it works. When you get a good low kick, you can handle it. If you get 5 good low kicks, you still can handle it because you're a guy, you're tough, and you're a fighter. You have a spirit somewhere, but still you're gonna I got spirit, but this is something different.
Start mentally breaking 15, you down as well.
Yeah. So and that is training, because I can let you as a coach, you can say, hey, make low kicks. Well, as a fighter, you need to develop your own timing skills, you know. So you need to time a lot, and you need to be hard to making low kicks, because some low kicks are not timed well. Some low kicks are defended by a block, so you get through. Many fighters would stop, you know, after a few blocked low kicks, and I always fuck it, you know. I was, especially after my many tournaments I fought, swollen feet, you know,
Yeah, shins and battered and...
Unbelievable. Yeah, you know what? Roppongi was waiting for me. Roppongi is the neighborhood in Japan where you can celebrate. How do you call it in English?
Like the party
area.
area,
The party area. So I did. Okay. No, it was.
Well,
it was okay. But yeah, that's not the only thing. It's also the game plans. The fight IQ that you have.
Yeah.
Just going through them and then eventually. Combining speed with power, and on the right moment, and that's the most difficult part of fighting, and we just spoke about it today with Simon, is that you can make a difference from a good fighter to an extraordinary good fighter, unique fighter who is a real world champion, is the interruption ability, the ability to interfere, So I will let you attack me by purpose, and sometimes you don't do it. You don't think about it. Of course, and that's the fight. The fighting sport is too fast. You need reaction time. It's like soldiers. You cannot be in war and saying, "Hey, shootings and the bullets are passing you," and think, "Hey, wait a minute. I'm gonna roll a cigarette and smoke a cigarette over here." So you need to be aware. It's like the fight sport is almost compared to them. Not that I want to compare fighters with soldiers, but I mean, you need to be really aware of it, So a certain state of mind, you have many stages in the mindset, and also with training and developing, and also with the part of my system is interfering, interrupting, So the moment you think you can attack me,
disrupting
you can start earlier, but I will hit you faster than you are trying to hit me. So that part, it's killing you. It's not only with punches, so that's why the low kicks are really important. If you punch, I can kick. You kick, I'll punch, so the difference. And if you punch, I kick underneath on the legs. Because you have a pad. When you step in, poof, your weight is on your legs,
Have you got a favourite technique or like a signature move that you would class as something you would do all the time?
Not really. Yeah, I've got some specialties, but in overall, I think reading and slowing you down and the whole mechanically of fighting, to put you, like I said, if you're a puncher, why, I love to box, but if you are a puncher, a better puncher than me, why you should take a risk to go fight? Maybe on the end of the fight I can do, if my strategy works against the boxer, I'm gonna kick. Against a kicker, I'm trying to get close, I'm gonna box. So the adaptation and to be a complete fighter in that way, that's the most important thing for me, to be the fighter as I am. I wanted to be a good fighter, to show that I can fight with any level, any type, any style of fighting. So I got some signature techniques, like the overhand. I got some people knocked out with it. But yeah, low kicks, liver punch, crossover. That's what I loved. Yeah.
Could I just ask you a quick question, Andy?
Yeah.
As a kid, did you ever have a dream of a sort of job you wanted to do? Like some kids want to be a fireman.
Yeah.
Or what would have been your dream if you wasn't a fighter? What would you have done? Marines.
And somehow I still think that was better for me.
Yeah.
Because I get so not disciplined besides the sport. I think if I did that, I didn't had many troubles.
Yeah.
Of it. Somehow it was the past. I don't feel guilty anymore. So and the mindset is better. I had some guilty feelings in the past, but I don't have it anymore. So that's why I always thought, man, it was better for me. But to be honest, I have it. The answer on your questions, I wanted to be a Marine. Marine guy. Yeah.
Life took you down the other path.
To be honest, it went like it went. So I'm happy with it now.
Yeah.
Even though I hated the sport so many times, man, I did a terrific job, I think.
Yeah. Have you got any funny stories to tell us that you've had through your
so
career?
many. Shall we take a pint? Then so many stories come up. There's so many. Yeah. Japan with Japanese friends and a team. Yeah, there's so many things, but yeah, we had fun. But to be honest, I knew from the heavyweights, from Peter, because he's a good friend of mine. He said they were really friends, even though they fought each other. They were friends, and we didn't have that. You understand?
Yeah.
So Peter Arts with Andy Hugh, with Ernesto, they were celebrating after the fights, and they have a good time. And I never saw that. I never felt that. Everybody had his own spot, island, and we didn't have a really good connection.
Yeah. What do you think your future holds for you now? What can you see yourself doing now, going forward?
Sharing the experience. Also, it's a cliche thing, you know, but I was thinking about what I'm gonna do. But now I had a terrific job. 24 hours a week, I'm working with homeless kids, and to coach them. And nowadays they are not only homeless because Papa and Mama didn't have enough money or some way. There are big troubles happening in the world nowadays, and it was in the past probably too. But I see what happens now. It's unbelievable. It's terrible somehow, but they need an example. They need a good coach.
How have you found it from turning over from fighting to coaching? You finding it just as enjoyable or more enjoyable? Or?
No, I think now I feel so good about it. It gives me a lot of
sort of putting something back in.
It is, and before I never thought I was able to do it because it was so selfish. This sport,
yeah.
Only thinking about yourself because it was always like having self pity. You know, you have to only think about yourself and. You have it tough, you are tired, you're exhausted, you have pain, you have stress, fighting stress, and you need to be the best of the world. So now I think, no man, I'm going to be a helpful guy now. I'm going to give something back.
Yeah. Have you got any words of advice for any sort of people that are training and would like to go down a sort of path you've got? And what sort of words of advice could you give them?
Don't ever go from your thoughts, immediately go to the success. Be able and be aware of that the road from A to Z has got a lot of letters in between. And they're all obstacles, and never get comfortable with it, you know, from okay, now I stop focusing for my goal. You know, you have to pass them. You have the tricks, the rocks, the road is not clean, you know?
Yeah. So
have faith, have a strong ability to go on. I don't think, oh yeah, I'm already there. Some people and guys, even if I look to my own city and members, they think they already have done it, you know, they are there. Mostly because of social media, because they want to have the attention. Yeah. The brain is working for, okay, I want to have likes. But it's nothing. Likes is nothing. It doesn't give you, it gives you feeling, but it's like drugs, it's like sugar. It's just temporary, yeah? Just for nothing. Go for it so you have a good feeling, you feel comfortable, you have respect for yourself, and go for it, you know? Go on and don't stop. Don't stop until you reach that goal, you know? Don't let yourself putting down to anybody or to something. Go for it.
Is there any sort of where can people find you through your social media, or they can contact you if they wanted to train with you and stuff?
Yeah, of course. I got the social media, Andy Souwer, what's my name? I don't know, Andy Souwer 2 official or something. Instagram, Facebook. I got my own kickboxing system for people who are interested in my story, but especially for the system that I'm using, you know, I have an own affiliate program. So if you're interested, you always can contact me via social media.
And what is your own gym called?
Andy Souwer Kickboxing University. Full mouth. Yeah. So, people, if you are interested, you can always contact me.
Andy, we start to wrap it up there, mate. Thanks for coming. It's very much appreciated.
Thank
you for your time.
Mate. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.